Damage from natural or man-made disasters can have ripple effects for years. So in 2015, more than 100 countries signed on to the Sendai Framework for Disaster Risk Reduction. Now this document aims to reduce the impact of disasters worldwide from 2015 to 2030. With this in mind, the United Nations Office for Disaster Risk Reduction spearheaded a technical workshop in Bonn, Germany in December. Participants from 90 countries learned how to use the monitoring system, which will be available early this year. Alan Stewart, director of the Tobago Emergency Management Agency, TEMA, attended the conference. He says the database will help countries compile more thorough disaster reports.
It has to do with financial losses, infrastructural losses, losses in relation to health, your lifelines. And all of these areas are critical in the reporting mechanism, agricultural losses. So it's a long list of areas that sometimes in our DANA, damage assessments and needs analysis, sometimes we leave out. So the objective is, the tool is to allow countries to ideally identify those critical areas that are necessary in the reporting platform so that you don't miss anything in your reporting.
Countries have the next 2 months to submit an initial report to the United Nations Office for Disaster Risk Reduction. Mrs. Stewart says such data collection will benefit Tobago in several ways.
It will allow our policy group to have a framework as to how to plan for the island effectively. And that being said, it will be in keeping with some of the major goals set out by the UN in terms of sustainable development goals set for the UN across the world. So as for us here in Tobago, this will allow us to pay particular attention to the process by which we gather information.
TEMA's director has advocated for technical support from the United Nations for Caribbean countries and other developing states. He says collaboration among private agencies and the public sector will also help countries prepare more accurate and comprehensive reports.
The attitude of sharing data becomes an imperative now. It is one of the things that I wish to see, that it will become mandatory, that agents across or agencies across government sectors understand the importance of sharing data. Your data is not just your own. It belongs to a cadre of, or a repository of data from the UN perspective that will allow for a global image as to what exactly is the impact of multiple hazards across the world.
Reports from all 90 countries should fulfill the 7 goals of the Sendai Framework by 2030. These include reducing the loss of life, reducing disaster damage to infrastructure, increasing access to multi-hazard early warning systems, and strengthening international cooperation and assistance to countries affected by disasters. I'm Omodara Mills for Let's Talk Tobago.